a community that refused to grow old. They were expected to decline like everyone else. Same risks, same environment, same access to healthcare. But year after year, this community aged more slowly than the world around them. At first, researchers searched for an advantage: better genetics, cleaner food, fewer toxins. But none of it explained the difference. To understand why this mattered, we need to look beyond biology and into behavior. Because what protected this community was not something they had, but something they avoided. In most societies, aging is treated as withdrawal. Work slows, responsibility shrinks, social roles narrow. Here, the opposite happened. Age expanded influence. Elders remained central. Their voices carried weight. Their presence mattered. This altered the psychology of aging itself. Instead of bracing for relevance, people moved toward later life with expectation. Purpose did not expire. Identity remained intact. Biological data followed psychology. Stress markers rose later. Cognitive decline slowed. Physical capability lasted longer, not because bodies were stronger, but because meaning persisted. The community did not resist aging through intervention. They resisted it through structure. Life was organized to keep people needed, regardless of age. And in doing so, they revealed something modern longevity research often overlooks. The body responds to whether it still has a role to play. As researchers observed daily life more closely, the pattern became unmistakable. Aging here did not trigger removal from responsibility. It triggered a transition. Tasks changed, but relevance remained. Physical demand softened, but social demand increased. Elders mentored, mediated disputes, preserved memory. Their experience was not archived, it was activated. This kept cognitive circuits engaged long after they would have gone dormant elsewhere. Physiologically, this mattered. Purpose regulates stress. When people feel useful, cortisol responses soften, inflammation decreases, sleep deepens. The nervous system interprets relevance as safety. In many modern societies, retirement severs this signal abruptly. Structure collapses, days lose shape, social contact narrows. The body interprets this withdrawal not as rest, but as threat. Here, there was no sharp edge. Aging unfolded gradually, buffered by expectation. People woke up knowing they were still required, still seen, still listened to. Researchers began to realize that longevity was being protected upstream, long before disease appeared, long before decline was measured. It was being shaped by social architecture. This challenged a dominant assumption that aging is primarily a medical problem. In reality, much of aging may be relational, accelerated not by damage alone, but by disappearance from meaningful roles. And this insight set up a powerful conflict, because preserving relevance at scale would require rethinking how entire societies are structured. The conflict emerges when this model meets modern values. Efficiency favors replacement over retention. Speed values novelty over experience. Systems are built to move on, not to carry forward. In such environments, older individuals are sidelined not out of malice, but design. Workplaces optimize for immediacy. Media rewards anew. Social structures narrow with age. The result is quiet erasure. Biologically, this erasure carries a cost. When people lose their role, stress increases. Inflammation rises. Cognitive decline accelerates. The body reads irrelevance as instability. Attempts to counter this often focus on activity. Hobbies, volunteer hours. But activity without necessity does not deliver the same signal. Being busy is not the same as being needed. The community understood this distinction. Elders were not given tasks to stay occupied. They were given responsibility because the system required them. Their absence would have been felt. As modern societies aged, this gap widened. Longer lifespans collided with shorter relevance windows. People lived decades after their social role ended. Medicine extended life, but culture failed to extend purpose. This created a paradox. We succeeded in adding years, but struggled to give those years weight. The body survived. The psyche thinned. The conflict, then, is not about respecting elders in theory. It is about embedding them into systems that cannot function without them. And until that happens, longevity gains may continue to feel hollow. The climax of this story is a realization that aging is not just a biological descent, it is a social signal. When the world communicates that someone still matters, the body listens. This community did not defeat aging. They delayed its acceleration by refusing to remove people from relevance. Stress stayed lower because identity stayed intact. Cognitive systems stayed active because experience was still required. The resolution is not to romanticize tradition. It is to recognize a structural truth. Longevity depends on continuity of purpose. When responsibility ends abruptly, decline often begins quietly. Modern societies face a difficult choice. Continue extending lifespan without extending meaning, or redesign systems so relevance lasts as long as life does. As populations grow older, this question becomes unavoidable. Medicine can keep hearts beating, but only structure can give those years direction. Because in the end, people do not age fastest when their bodies weaken. They age fastest when they are no longer needed. Subscribe to join the journey.